Now if everything is good, it should work. So we can go ahead and remove the characters. So keen ones among you who would have tried may have seen that it doesn't work. I'll get to all that. Not really an issue. So let's go ahead and remove the characters over here. Pacman will not work. We'll set his spawn point up a bit later. So if you would notice, if I go ahead and press play, you see that the ghosts actually spawn. So that doesn't seem like a problem, but they are not moving. Now why is that? It's actually fairly simple. What's happening here is there's actually a mode over here. If you go to the class settings, or rather to the class defaults, and if you type in spawn, uh, actually there is another setting here, so which will determine whether the AI can move or not. So if you just search for AI over here, and if you just take a look, so you can just search over here. So you see auto possess AI, it is spawned or placed in world. So we are spawning it. So right now the setting is set to placed in world, but if you click do spawned, what will happen is it's going to allow you to use spawn actor instead of assuming that it's placed in the level. Now if you would notice, you'd see that the AI actually moves. So now they go to their respective corners. Alright, you will still get a bunch of errors because we don't have Pacman Riff. Let's go ahead and set up his position. So it's below this T over here. So it's going to be over here. So this is going to be Pacman's location. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and grab a player start. So put it right over there. So in the middle. And for the tags over here, what we can do is we can go ahead and add a tag and call this one Pacman spawn. Alright, now theoretically Pacman should also be spawned. So for now we can go ahead and click on play. We don't have another player start, so it's fine. For now we'll just click on play. So we spawned the character. So let's go ahead and take a look. If you hit F8 and unpossess, you see that Pacman is spawned over here. And if you notice, Blinky should be the one who is going to chase Pacman. And if you notice, the other ghost behavior as well should correspond to what they should be. So I'm not sure where the other ghosts went. So I don't see the other two. So one is still at the corner for some reason. There are two over here. And there is one over here. So let's go ahead and see if we have any characters spawned up already. So there shouldn't be so many. So there should have been 4 ghosts and a Pacman. Oh, and one character is ours. So that makes sense. So I'll do one thing. I'll just go ahead and try to escape this place. So I'll go to this corner right here. So we'll ignore that for a minute. Alright. So now Blinky should go straight towards Pacman. So this is Blinky for sure. So as you can see, this is Blinky. Alright. And then we are targeting a random location over here using Pacman's position. So I'm not sure who this is. So this is Pinky. So did we set up the logic for Pinky is the big question over here. So yes, we did set up the logic. So let's go ahead and see if there was actually any problem. If not, we can go ahead and settle with this. So now that we are done setting up the actual spawn points, we can set up the actual power pellets. So that is something which we hadn't done. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. So first of all, we'll need to figure out where to put them. So that will be the easy part. That will be somewhere over here, I believe. So it'll be somewhere down here. The hard part is going to be actually finding out which of the regular pellets to omit. So what we'll do is we'll head back into our pellet spawner and we'll add that text once again. So whatever we had. So here we are spawning it. We have the coordinate X as well as the coordinate Y. So what we'll do is we'll head into pellet. We'll add a text render component and we'll move this up so that it's visible and set this to center align And what we can do is on begin play, so we can add the begin play event, and upon begin play what we can do is we can set the text of the text render to be equal to the coordinates. So we can format the text, so we can grab the coordinate over here, and you can't just put an endpoint. So what we can do is we can go ahead and do x comma y. Alright, pass in the x and pass in the y. Okay, so if we go ahead and press play, so I'll just hit F8 to eject, and this is one that we have to get rid of. So 7 comma 1, so 7 comma 1, we have to get rid of 7 comma 1, and the same thing on the other side. So this one is going to be 7 comma 26. So 7 comma 1 as well as 7 comma 26. So what we can do is in our pellet spawner under our excluded indices range, so I think we have it outside here. So we have our pellet spawner, and under this excluded indices range we can go ahead and add it. So add another one. So this one is going to be 7 comma 1 and 7 comma 1. Alright, can add another one, and this is going to be 7 comma 26, and this will be again 7 comma 26. So we should have got rid of these two now, and we can spawn the power pellet over there. So let's take a look. So we got rid of that. We got rid of that as well. We also need to get rid of these ones which are right on top of Pacman. So it's going to be these right here, right in the middle. So I'm not sure how many we have to get rid of. So let's just see the figure to find out. So I would say this would be 2 at the center. So Pacman is not exactly centered, so that's the reason it's like that. But if Pacman was in fact centered, so it would overlap with this as well. So we have to get rid of these two. So what we'll do is, so the pellets are not exactly centered, but anyways these two are the ones which we need to get rid of. So we'll target that and we'll get rid of it. So it's going to be 7 comma 13 and 7 comma 14, which makes sense, of course. So that's the ones in the middle. So let's go ahead and add those to the pellet spawner. So 7 comma 13 and 7 comma 14. So go ahead and add another range, and it's going to be 7 comma 13, and the end is going to be 7 comma 14. Alright, if I now go ahead and press play, and if I eject, and if I head straight to Pacman, you see that those two pellets are not going to be there. Now I guess there were two more on the top, so we'll eliminate those pellets as well. So I guess I close the image. So it's going to be at the corners, 2 pellets down. So if I go ahead and press play over here, so I'll head in here. So it's going to be 27.1 as well as 27.26. So that is the one that we have to get rid of. So it's going to be 27.1 and 27.26. So 27.1 as well as 27.1, and the last one is going to be 27.26. So this will be 27, 26, 27 and 26. So we got rid of that. Now if we press play, we should in fact have all the pellets removed, whichever are extra. So I believe it's only one that we have to remove. So yeah, that is only one. We don't have anything else to remove. Now we can head into the next part. Now we can go ahead and spawn the power pellets in these locations. The way we'll do that is we'll just have a rough idea of what place it's in, and we'll place something known as a target point. So if I search for target point, so it's going to be right at this intersection. So I'll place a target point over there. So if I hit simulate, I'll not lose the view. So I'm just going to hit simulate rather than play. So I'll not lose the view over here. So over here, that's where I can place the target point. So somewhere around this corner, a bit to the left. So somewhere over here. So what I can do is I can place a target point over here. Alright, we'll look into the height a bit later. And over here as well, let's go ahead and check where it was. So it is right on that line. So what we'll do is we'll place it over here. Now if I run this, it should be well and good. And the same thing goes over here. So it should be right on that line. So it is symmetrical, so it should be correct. Now this corner is something which we did not do. So it will be somewhere on this. So it will be somewhere over here. Alright. Now that we have it, we can go ahead and give it some tags. So this, this and this. So these four are responsible for the power pellets. So we'll use the actor tags once again. We are going to add a tag, and this one we'll call it power pellets. So power pellet spawn. Now inside our pellet spawner, once we finish spawning, what we can do is instead of just printing the count, what we'll do is we'll get all actors with tag, and we'll copy the tag and paste it in here, and we'll get the location of this actor. So get actor location. And now one more thing that I do want to do is move it up a little bit. I believe it's right on the floor. So we'll fix that, but before that we'll create a power palette class. So we'll remove the text, we don't require it right now. So we have some logic over here, so we can change that logic as well. So we can go ahead and copy this class over here. So we should rather use BP Pacman instead. So since we are using this, we'll change this. So don't forget to make this change, otherwise it's not going to work. So if the cast is a success, we can go ahead and run our logic. Alright, and the same thing we can do for our power pellet. So we can duplicate this and call this BP power pellet. And instead of a cube, we'll just go ahead and place a square. So let's say we have, a sphere. So let's say we have a sphere over here. So 0.2 is a bit too small. Let's say we have not 0.4. So I guess this is a reasonable size. And for the actual power pellets, I believe the points is a little bit different. So I just looked up the number. It's 50 points. So since these are the only two things, we'll not worry too much about the reusability aspect. So we have the actor location. What we can do is we can spawn actor. So spawn actor from class. The rotation doesn't really matter. And what we'll do is we'll call this one is going to be the power pellet, of course. And we'll just grab the location from here. And I guess right now it should be good. The only thing is the coordinate which is over here. So we don't really require the coordinate for the power pellet. So I mean, we aren't using it in the pellet as well. That was mainly for printing, but nonetheless we can have it. Later on you can go ahead and delete this as well. So once we are sure that we are done with the game, we can go ahead and delete it. And now as you can see, we have the power pellets. So of course, as I told you guys, we'll probably need to move it a bit up. I also want it to be slightly bigger, so I'll go ahead and instead of cube, this should be a sphere. I'll increase the size so to let's say 0.6, 0.6, and this will again be 0.6. Alright, so I guess this looks big enough. Only thing is it's lying on the ground, which we should fix. So let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I moved 60 units, 70, 80, 90 and 100. So it's 100 units up. So what we can do is we can grab all these target points. So the last 4 that we had. And what we can do is we can set the snapping to 100 and we can just move it up by 1 unit. And we can change back our snapping. Now our power pellets should be aligned properly. So as you see, we have the power pellets as well. I do want to make it ever so slightly larger. So I do believe that it is still a bit too small. So 0.7 may be the perfect middle ground. So 0.7. So let's go ahead and press play. So I guess this is big enough. So it covers enough area and it is going to work. So now what we have to do is we have to take control of Pacman, which is something which we are not doing. So once we spawn Pacman, what we have to do is we have to possess it basically. So the logic can be done in our game mode. So this is where we are spawning Pacman. Since we have a single player, we can directly use the get player controller node. If we had multiple players, we'd probably have to get the correct one. And we can call the possess function. And the pawn can be the new Pacman pawn. Alright. And in the game mode, we can disable the character. So we can set it to none. Now if I go ahead and hit play. So as you see, we possessed the pawn, but nothing much seems to be happening because we haven't set up the input. We can be a little bit lazy with that. What we can do is we can copy the input code from the third person character. So we have our camera input and setting up of the input mapping. So we'll copy these two. Movement input is something we need as well. We don't require jump input. So we'll copy these and we'll just directly paste it in there. Of course, you can write your own input code. It's going to be fairly straightforward. There's not much to it. So you can head into BP Pacman. Since movement is not really an important aspect of Pacman, we'll just go ahead and copy that. Alright. So we have these events over here. So I'm pretty sure this one is supposed to be something like begin play. So what we can do is we can go ahead and create a custom event and call it setup input. So setup input, and over here as well we can go ahead and call setup input. So this is going to set up our input. So if it is valid, we'll add the mapping context. So let's go ahead and test it out. So WASD arrow keys, nothing seems to be working. So let's go ahead and analyze why. So we may be having a slight timing issue here because we are possessing Pacman after it is spawned, right? So what we can do is instead of, since we have possess over here, we have to make sure that the setup input is called after possess. So what we can do is instead of calling it here, we can just call setup input over here. So we will cancel this. And from here we'll call setup input. So this is going to work. So instead of calling it on begin play over there, we can call setup input over here. So as you can see, we are Pacman. Now this is not necessarily the best view, but nonetheless it is working. And I guess we forgot to remove the text render from the pellets. So let's go ahead and do that real quick and do that in the power pellet as well. Alright, now if I go ahead and press play, we should be in theory able to control Pacman. So of course this is not the perspective that we want, but anyways, so we are able to control Pacman, pick up the coins and stuff. So that's well and good.